Welcome, everybody. Hello, hello. Okay, so welcome to session number 2 of CORE. Calm, open, realigned, energized. I want to take a moment and say thank you for joining us. We've got a fair bit of people in here. Bob is here again, but still asleep. I don't know. Wednesdays, this is like middle of the day nap day, apparently. If oh, I thought he was going to come over, but he just did a stretch instead. He's like, "Yep, that's what it is, Dad." Okay. For those of you just joining us for the first time, I want to say thank you for joining us and welcome. I know we have two different links, right? So we have a Wednesday class, that's one link, and we have a Friday class, that's another link. The end of class or towards the end of class, Raymond, if you could drop in Friday's registration link for anyone who might want to join. Friday's class is called Working Within. And it's really nervous system specific. Working within means working with an integrated nervous system. I told the class last week to come on Wednesdays if you want your day changed. If you want a better day, that's today. Come to Friday's class if you want your life changed. Because what we're talking about there is kind of how to implement some of these things. Like, what is the bigger meaning of everything we're doing in these classes? Like, how do you understand when and how and the whats, the whys, the wheres, the whos of all of this work? That's a Friday class. Today's class is really application. We just kind of run through some nervous system work, some embodiment work, so on and so forth. On Wednesdays, if you have things you'd like specifically to explore, come a little early, like 2 or 3 minutes early. I always drop into the chat like what is it that you would like to work on today? And we had some really great responses. One of them is how to be more grounded. One of them was how to feel like your brain and your body are more connected, right? Like how do you feel more whole? And my favorite response, who was it that sent it? My favorite, Rose, thank you. It just says, just lay it on us, James. So that's what we're going to do today. We're just going to like lay it on because that's kind of the entire point of Wednesdays is to just get some movement in. We're going to go on a journey, right? A lot of people think nervous system work. This is what this class is heavily based on is nervous system work, whether it's like somatic practices or movement practices. It's how to get exactly that ask, how to get your brain and your body better connected. We often think of it as just kind of like a calming thing, but we're going to go on a roller coaster because a regulated, like open, responsive, realigned nervous system and body has peaks and valleys. So we're going to start off with just getting a little more present. Here is the invitation because the truth is, I'm connecting the two classes, Wednesdays and Fridays. You don't have to come to both, but if you come to both, you will likely kind of get an extra nuance to the class. So last Friday, for those of you who joined, last Friday we worked on listening and listening to the body, listening for what information is there. So as we explore and play today, if you took last Friday's class, it's the working within class, feel free to bring in some of those strategies. There will be moments today where we kind of have like a fork in the road. You can go left or you can go right. You can do this practice or that practice. The implicit invitation within all of that is for you to choose which one feels better, which one is the right one for you to do. Now, for those of you who were not in Friday's class, try both of them on and then go, oh, I need to do more of this. All of these classes are not an addition problem. It's not saying I have to do all of these things to be a better, more realized, more grounded human being. They're options and choices. And out of the 50 options and choices, you may choose 3 of them, 5 of them that you remember, that you find important, and that you practice over time. And that's what these classes are designed to do. It's like walking into a library with 50,000 possible books to read and going, these are the 5 that I actually want to read right now. And as you go through life, you may find that there might be different choices. You might need a different thing today than you did yesterday and that you need in 2 weeks from now. So go ahead and get seated because the majority of the work is going to be seated. And we're going to start off with sort of a being present practice, right? So eyes open or eyes closed, your choice. Then take an inhale and let out an exaggerated exhalation. You may even want to go into last week's practice of almost cooling soup, right? Like you're holding a cup of coffee or soup and you're blowing into it. Option number one. Option number two, we're going to introduce the physiological sigh. That's a double inhale followed by a single exaggerated exhalation. First inhale is big, second inhale is full capacity, long exaggerated exhalation. I'm going to do it once. You're not going to hear a whole bunch, but some people just like to see it. And then we're going to do it together like twice, right? So it's a two times you and me. Once more together. First fork in the road. You have 3 to 5 more. Do you want to do soup cooling breath or do you want to do physiological sigh? Your choice. 3 to 5 more. Another 10 seconds to do whatever it is that makes you feel more present. Then we're going to bring our hands together and get them warmed up. We're going to place a nice warm hand on the throat and just notice how that makes you feel. Do you like it? What information is there you're listening to and listening for? What information comes when I do this? Is this something that like lights up in a positive way my nervous system? Does it feel comforting? Or hands on your chest. How does this compare to the throat touch? Do I like this better or not as much? Or belly. You may find that you need one hand on different areas. Another 15, 20 seconds of a therapeutic touch. Another 15 or 20 seconds of doing either a therapeutic touch or a breath work, whatever one you choose. The guiding light being what makes you feel more grounded, present, regulated. And then the last of sort of our nervous system specific exercises. Let's do a bilateral sway, right and left. Maybe you need to move quickly. Maybe yours is like glacially slow. Maybe yours is rigid, or maybe it's more like seaweed, kind of being moved by a current. Now, instead of doing a distinct fork in the road, meaning an either or, you're already doing a movement practice. Couple with that, meaning doing two things at the same time. Do you want to do a touch with that? Or do you want to do a breath with that? Does it feel better to have your eyes opened or closed? Another 15 seconds. And then just notice. Notice anything that feels different now versus like 5, 6 minutes ago when we started. How do you feel now versus then? You might feel better. You might feel worse. Things just might feel different, but just noticing it for yourself. Now, what we just did was a whole bunch of nervous system regulation practices. You may have noticed, and if you've taken classes with us before, you know exactly what it is, but you may have noticed a urge to yawn within that. Yawning does not necessarily mean tired. Yawning is nervous system regulation. It's a state change, going from downregulated to upregulated or upregulated to downregulated, meaning peaks and valleys. So we're going to capitalize on that, right? We're in core class. The O stands for open. Open can mean a lot of different things. We're going to take it to mean today kind of stretching and opening yourself a bit, right? But instead of doing like toe touch stretches, we're going to do something probably even more powerful. We're going to do what's called a pandiculation. Big fancy word that just means a breath and a stretch together. Here's your inspiration. You know when you wake up in the morning and you want to do that thing? That's a pandiculation. Or when you see a cat or a dog and they do that big stretch, pandiculation. So it's a stretch with a breath work that does a lot of different things. And you can kind of fake it until you make it. Here's what I mean by that. I'm going to scooch back a little bit. But we're going to just stretch the arms, maybe even open the hands. Stretch. Big breath. Exhale. Let's do another one. Different arm position. Another one. Now, keep doing that or just do a breath work, right? You can just continue to breathe, or maybe it feels better to just move side to side. Wise in the road, listening for what feels good to do. You can continue to do the pandiculation, or we can do some sensory foraging. We can do some eye tracking with it. Pick your favorite hand. It can be your right or your left. No matter where that hand goes, that hand is going to be where your eyes go. Two more. One more. And then we're just going to shake. Just kind of shake out your hands. Here's what I say with this exercise, right? Normally, when I teach this in class, you can see the people who are like fully committed and the people who are a little resistant because shaking can be kind of weird, right? Here's what I tell people: shake your hands like you're shaking off your stress, because that's quite literally what you're doing. You are dislodging some of the chemicals in the body. Oh, we got a Bob sighting. Welcome, Bob. So we're just going to do a shaking. If you want to hold on to your stress, do this. If you want to get rid of your stress, shake it. Shake it all the way off of you. Let it shake through the entire Bob. You got a bunch of hellos and hearts. It's a joke in my house that I don't even know why I show up. I could just turn the camera on Bob for a half hour and we'd probably have higher viewership. Shaking, 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 shaking. Take a big inhale, sighs. Two more. One more. And just notice any differences between now and like 5 minutes ago. Just kind of tracking what feels important. What did the big pivot shift for you? Listening, right? To what are the choices you should be making more of. Now, let's go down into kind of legs and hips, and then we're going to work our way back up into the spine. So I'm going to adjust my camera a bit. And here we go. We're going to do one that we did last week, and then we're going to add to this practice. So I'm going to take one leg and kind of move it over the other. Now, if you don't have, sorry, we're spatially constrained here. If you don't have this kind of flexibility, this leg can be out, it can be down. You could just skip it. Wise in the road. So we're going to go just a little bit of movement here, forward and back, just a little stretch. And maybe as you do this, you're thinking, I allow my sits bones to be wide. I allow myself to be rocked. If you are someone who enjoys the feeling, maybe the feeling is like, I'm on a swing. Maybe the feeling is, I'm on a boat being rocked. I'm a wave moving out and moving back in. Whatever your inspiration is, because it's not a stretch, right? It's a movement, it's a mobility. And then hold. No matter what the flexibility, no matter what the setup is, we're going to twist a bit to the left and twist a bit to the right. This is not a huge twist. It's just like, it's like a little bit. It's a pretzeled constrained twist. And maybe I even want to bring in some breath with this. I find this is a really good one if your back and hips tend to get tight throughout the day. Because newsflash, most of your low back stuff is actually coming from your hips. And then let's do the other side. So I'm going to put that leg there. Oceanic or swinging rock. Just getting a little movement in. Now you can continue to do this, or you could be back doing your breath work or doing your bilateral sways. You could be doing pandiculations right now. We're going to hold. We're just going to rotate one direction and the other. And again, this side is going to be vastly different than your other side, and that's okay. And relax. Now, last week we did a version of this to kind of stimulate some like abdominal work, but the movement's gonna look similar, but it's a very, very different thing. So I'm gonna even move this down a wee bit more. And we're gonna take and just let our legs get fidgety, right? Like they're just anxious little legs. Now, I don't care if you have shoes on or barefoot, but can you, as you move up and down, can it feel well, inspiration here might be a cat needing its bed. And so, what we're asking you to do is kind of feel into your toes as you do this instead of like a clubbed foot, right? Maybe acknowledge. Maybe a mantra here is I have 10 toes or however many toes you got. If you got 9 of them, if you got 12 of them, like I don't know. Most of us 10. So I've got 10 toes and my mantra is I have 10 toes. When I'm walking or when I used to have a running practice, my mantra as I would run was 10 toes, 10 toes. And it's amazing how just having that vocabulary in your head, 10 toes, kind of changes how it is you run, how it is you move. We kind of forget we got toes. And then maybe it gets a little bit bigger. It's like a little mini temper tantrum for the legs. I'm really kind of beating down on the floor on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being nothing, 10 being a lot. I'm beating down at a good 7. And then relax and just feel any difference in your body. Now, this next one, this one we did quite a bit last spring when we were working some leg stuff, but we're going to come to the front edge of our chairs here, and we're just going to let the legs kind of open and close. Now, my feet are not firmly planted on the ground, and my feet are also not like willy-nilly giving it up. There's flexibility going on in the ankles. Here's what I mean. My feet are, the intention is to keep my feet on the ground. If there's a little movement, I'm not going to beat myself up over it, but I'm also not just going to let them flop all over the place. I'm consciously thinking about relaxing and opening up the hip joints a bit. And then I might even want to play. I might want to rock more towards my pubic bone in the front or more towards my tailbone in the back, meaning that there's like a flexion and extension going on in the low back. And what I'm looking for is areas that feel or demonstrate less intelligence. How would you know? Well, if I go back here, right, it's a little, it's like it's not as fluid. And so I know this is probably an area for me to work on. And then as I go up and forward, it's like way easier for me. This is an area that I can probably spend less time on. You can see it gets a little, just slows down ever so much. Again, you are literally listening to how does my body respond to these things? I'm just paying attention. And instead of beating yourself up and going like, I'm not good at this, you're going, oh, that's an area that probably needs some intelligence, right? It probably, and how do we get that? Repetition, repetition, repetition. I just got to keep doing it. And undoubtedly, the area, the movement will become a little smarter. And maybe that's a good way to think about like life issues. Like there was nothing wrong there. It's just an area that I'm less, that I need some practice in. And so I got to put myself into these more difficult spaces and get some practice in the difficult space. And then let's finish off here with one we did do last week. That's both legs simultaneously lifting up and down. And if they go a little faster and you're at the front edge of your chair, you're going to notice I need to use some abs to keep myself up. You can hold on to the chair or even better, kind of out. Now, the harder and higher you go with the knees and the feet, right? The more those abs are going to have to work. So I can get my ab work in, not even have to get on the floor. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 2, 1. Rest. What feels like the next right thing for you to do? For me, it's pandiculation. The question here is, do you keep your feet on the floor for all of the leg exercises? For these ones, yes, my feet, I talk about it all the time. Let's see if we can get, again, sorry, spatially constrained here. Feet are on the floor like this, and you can see they're not like willy-nilly, but they're not like glued on the ground, right? It's like a little bit of movement. It's like a little bit of grace and movement. I want that ankle mobility in there. I want the feet to have to contract and relax a bit. Hopefully that answers the question. Okay, let's work on some spirals here. So we did a little bit of rotational work, but let's do a little bit more. So my feet are now going to be on the ground. My butt is going to be in my chair. And I'm going to start with just a simple rotation. This is different than the one we did last week. Last week we worked eyes going first. This one we're just rotating. Now, Let's expand on that. I'm going to rotate to the right so much that I'm going to lift my left butt cheek up and I'm twisting, twisting, twisting. Maybe your inspiration here is a washcloth being wrung out. Take an inhale, exhale, squeeze, and make yourself like you're going to slim your waistline a bit. Inhale, come back to center. Relax. Twist the other way. Let that right butt cheek lift. On your exhale, squeeze your ribs and your like you're going to shrink yourself. Come back to center. One more each way. Back to center. Okay. We're going to take right hand. We're going to reach it up. Right hand is going to touch your left ear. Now, if you don't have this kind of flexibility, like let's say there's a shoulder thing or whatever, you can put your hand on top of your head. Or if you want, if you can't quite get there, hand on the same ear, so my right ear. For most of us, we're going to be here. We're going to take and push, and I'm going to be clear here. I'm pushing my head up into my hands, not my hand down into my head. So I lift up. This hand is going to grab a hold of the ear, and I'm pushing, and I'm going to stretch over this way. And then I'm going to come back up and head up. I'm going to stretch, opening up here. Other side. Reaching up, hand, stretch the neck. Up, push up into that, stretching over. And we're up. Imagine in front of you that your nose is a pencil and it's going to draw like the smallest little circle in front of you on the wall, right? And as you do that, and I don't care if you're going clockwise or counterclockwise, we're going to switch here in a moment. Can you, whether your eyes are open or closed, sense into the movement happening where the neck meets the skull? And can it get a little more fluid, a little more soft? Here, because now we're kind of down regulating again, you might want to add in a touch or an exaggerated exhale. And reverse that circle. One more of doing whatever it is you're doing. And finger flicks. Like you're flicking off water. Now, again, we've already done some energizing, but let's finish off with that because you and I both have work, likely, for the rest of the day. So we're going to do a brain exercise here, and we're going to make it simple-ish, right? We're going to take right hand. I'm going to face you. We're going to take right hand and go thumbs up. We're going to take left hand and go index finger out. Then we'll switch. Again, just like all of the brain teaser movements, it does not get easier the more you do. It actually gets harder the more you do. 3, 2, 1. Shake it out. As always, think about today what felt important for you to do. When you were listening and you were asked to go right or left or this or that, Which ones did you choose? Which one felt right? And maybe pick two or three or five things to continue to practice. Join us on Fridays for Working Within, where we help kind of contextualize some of what this is and what it means for us in an organizational setting. I'll stick around for whatever questions you got. I saw a couple of them here. But if not, thank you all so much. Raymond, if you haven't yet, can you drop in the link for Fridays? And we'll see y'all here next week or ideally on Friday. Thank you all so, so much. I got to put my glasses on so I can see what it is we got going on here. Yep, the pup wants to stretch too. Do we have any classes in person here in the Sacramento area? Robin, unfortunately, I do not. I no longer, at least right now, no longer offer. Oh, welcome, welcome, Bob. Thanks for waking. Oh, you're not actually going to wake up. Um, I no longer have any classes available in person at this point. Again, work an 8 to 5 job, and I'm in grad school right now. So classes, live classes are not currently on the books. Right, it's time to rub my chest, Daddy. Yep. Little regulation here. He would have me do this all day until he doesn't want it, right? Then he's like, don't touch me. Okay, everybody. Let's see. We got one Q. Is last Wednesday's class available to watch? Can you share? It is not. What we do is we record all of the classes, and then a separate department at Western Health Advantage loads all of the classes up into our YouTube. And we never know exactly when that will happen. But there are a ton of classes on YouTube, and this goes for everyone. This is one of the questions that just came up in the Q&A. There are tons and tons and tons of classes on our YouTube. We have our old Move Lab classes. So if you're really interested in actually like a physical practice, Move Lab classes. We have tons of nervous system classes. We have classes for kids. We have classes for seniors. We have tons and tons of classes over there. Awesome. Okay, everybody. Thank you so much. And Robin, if you want to reach out to me, I'll drop my email right here and tell me more about, yeah, classes and so on and so forth. Okay, everybody. Thank you all so, so much. I appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us. And hopefully we will see you again on Friday. And if not, we'll see you here next Wednesday. Bye for now, everybody.